Hello everybody, welcome to another video. This one is so exciting to me because this is MelodySusie and it's my first PR for MelodySusie, and they've sent me some acrylic powders. So I was supposed to be getting one of their extractor pans, but it got lost in the post and I was absolutely gutted. I can't tell you how gutted I was, but they very kindly sent me some acrylics instead at the minute. But not only are they acrylic, but they're multi-purpose acrylic. So you can use them to build with a monomer, or you can use them to dip. These are very well stuck up, so I'm going to get these open and I'll be back. I've opened them all and I'm really impressed for a start by the size of them. So it's 56 grams, so it's a 2-ounce pot. And I've opened these two already. They're absolutely jam-packed, so don't spill it like I just did. So they've got a seal on the inside. Now you can get these, it's a all-purpose, so you've got, like I say, you can dip with it. You can use your monomer, you can sculpt with it, you can even use acrylic, I don't know if you knew, to stick your rhinestones on, and they'll be really secure. And I'll put you a shot up of the colours available, so I think there's 5 in total, including the clear and the white. So the others are kind of pinks or nudes. Yeah, now they do have their own monomer, which is a fast setting. They've not sent me monomer, so I'm going to use my own. So with my acrylics, what I tend to do is, because they're flat in my drawer, I put a little swatch on the top of the lids. So you can use them little swatch pads if you want, but whatever. That soaked up quite a big lump. It looks like sugary. That is super smooth, really smooth, not gritty at all. Let's clean up around that. What's that? Well, that's my white one. And my clear. Lovely. Right, so that's the clear and then the pink. You can get a lovely big bead with this. Wow. Right, so that's pink dahlia. Beautiful. Right, okay, so you can also use it for dipping. Now I can do dipping with acrylic with a base coat. So I've just got this one out of a little kit, this MelodySusie base coat. So, because base coat is a bit more sticky than using a dipping powder solution, I tend to sprinkle it over. So I've just got an extra scoop and I'm just going to sprinkle it like this. And then I'm not moving that base coat, if you see what I mean. I'm not pushing it up and out of the way. So you just sprinkle this on. Get rid of any huge excess, and then obviously you've got to cure it. So even if your base coat says 30, I would give it a double cure because you've got that powder on the top. So I'm going to brush that off, but I'm going to brush it off onto a wet wipe because this powders are really fine. It could just fly everywhere. So that's just one coat. So that's really good. So now I've brushed it off, I can put another layer of base coat on. Make sure it's covered. I'm going to wipe that before I put it back in my bottle. And then I'm going to sprinkle again. If you want to push it into the pot, that's entirely up to you. But this is just what I do if I'm using base coat. Plenty on. Let it sit a couple of seconds to soak it up. I'm going to just shake off any excess and cure again. But you don't need to do much filing at all. You'll probably smooth off your edges again in case you've gone a bit over with your base coat. It'll smooth your bottom. Smooth your bottom? Smooth the free edge if you want to. But to save doing any filing, because you shouldn't really need an awful lot of filing, I would put another coat of base coat on. Wipe that off again before I put it back in. And cure that. And then I'm going to go in with my glossy top coat. So you get a really nice glossy finish then. Your top coat's not all soaked into that acrylic powder, if you know what I mean. So if you've got gels, you've only ever used gels, you use gel polish, you've already got the base coat, or you've used acrygels or any other sort of gels, but you want to try acrylic and you're not sure how you're going to get on with it, why don't you get an all-in-one and just a small pot of monomer. And then you can try both options. You can try dipping with your base, or you can try using your monomer, see what you get on with. Failing that, if you end up doing it and you don't get on, practice makes better, always makes better. So don't expect to do it first time, keep practicing with it. And acrylic powders always come in handy, you know, like the sweater nails at Christmas, or if you are sponging colours on, you can sprinkle a layer of acrylic on, it makes your colours stronger. If you're sponging, you know, gel polish on. So that's that. So that's got the base coat on there. So, I'm running out of battery. Hold on. So that's got the base coat on there, and then I'm just going to top coat over that, and you see what a lovely finish it is. But that's just 2 coats of that. That's great coverage. So a nice top coat. How quick and easy is that? And that's that method done. We'll go for a sprinkle. I have done videos showing that you can do French with dips. You can do ombres with dips. You can even do sectional coloured nails with dip powders. So that's gone clear again on the edge, so I'm just going to put a bit more on there. Knock off the excess, just to let that air dry. So I'm brushing that excess off again, brush it off from underneath. And then you put your number 2 from whatever system you're using, which is your activator or accelerator, whatever they call it. And that will spread out all over it, and that'll make it go rock hard. That's it. I'll wipe my brush again. Pop that back in and we'll let that air dry. With all acrylics, you'll be able to hear when that's cured, when it's finished, because it'll sound like a high pitch when you tap it with your brush. And I can see that the shine is disappearing. It's a lovely colour, isn't it? Beautiful. Listen. That's high pitch, so that's done. So I'm going to buff it. And then top coat it. You can use a top coat that comes in your dipping system set, or you can use your gel top coat. So I'm just going to go in with this one. If you don't buff that surface, I would give it a wipe with a dry cloth, a dry wipe, just to make sure you've got no applicator still on it. Wipe my brush off whenever I've brushed over dips and give that its normal cure. And that's that done. And that's it. So that's the one done with the dipping system liquid. And that's the one done with the gel polish. So now let's do a set of nails using the traditional monomer and acrylic method. And what I'm doing is I like to have a coat of clear on the nail bed, just so you've got something to file down to if you want to do a redesign and you don't have to remove the whole nail. So I've got into the habit of doing that. And now I want this one to be an ombre, so I'm starting at the bottom with the white. It's highly pigmented, it's a great powder. I have a bit of a faff at one bit because my brush is bigger than I normally use. I don't know why I'm using this one, but I end up, look, ended up making a bit of a mess, but that cleans up. I'm letting that dry, and now this one's going to have, these are little paper flowers, and I'm going to encapsulate these. So it's going to have these just all in clear. Got a little ladybird or ladybug as you call it in some places. And I think these paper flowers, you can get them all over the place. They look like little dried flowers once they're encapsulated. So they're really pretty. I know I'm still on flowers, but I've still got some flowers in the garden and I can't resist it. And I thought they'd look pretty with this pink. So I'm just using a little bit to stick them on. Now you can, I did show in a video at some point that you can bend these slightly so they go around your nail, they'll sit a bit flatter. If you didn't want to build up any apex and your nails were a lot shorter, I would recommend that you bend anything that's paper or metal so it curves around your nail. It's not sticking up, but it was absolutely fine for this, so I've just popped them on as they are. And I don't mind if that acrylic goes underneath. That just means I've not got any air bubbles. And then I'm going to put some clear on the top as well because I want to be able to file down without losing the flowers. So it's a pretty simple design this, and I'm really out of practice with the acrylics. I only do it in the summer, and I've not done as much this year because I've had so much gel polish PR to do. I've not really had a chance to play with acrylics very much, but I have enjoyed doing it. I really love doing this set. So that's it, so they're all stuck on, and then once they're stuck on I'll do a slightly drier bead and then I'll encapsulate all of those. While that white's drying we may as well get on with something else. That's it, little bit of glitter just to lift it. I don't know where I got the glitter from, I think one of my mates sent it me. And that's that. And then on the next nail, I'm going to do a French. So I'm just building the apex a little bit with that clear and then smoothing it down. I'm showing you a little bit on each nail if it's different. I don't want to repeat what I'm showing you. So now that white's dry, I can go in and come back with this pink. Now if you've not used acrylic before, I reckon, look, I've ended up getting it on the side of the finger. I recommend starting with an 8 brush. Some people carry on and use an 8 the rest of their lives. I've seen people use 14s. I've absolutely no idea how to get on with that. It'll pick up massive beads. I think the more you practice, the more you'll be able to move up to it. But I started with an 8. I think this one's a 12. 10 or 12. So I should have stuck to what I know. But you can sort it out. Don't panic about it. If you get lumps and bumps and divots, you can always sort it out. You can infill a divot if you come to filing and you've got a little hole somewhere from an air bubble or something. Or you can file it down. The key is learning how to do your filing. Once you master that, you can turn any disaster into a beautiful nail. But this is not doing too bad. I like it. I like the consistency of it. It's more user error. But yeah, lovely colour. Just cleaning my brush off a little bit. That's it. And I want to make sure, because it's a little bit drier bead. And then I'll just smooth that bottom off. Thin it down. That's it. And then what I do after this pink is I realise I want some more white at the bottom, so I'll bring that back up again. It's not a very fast setting monomer I've got. I think I probably get on better with the MelodySusie's own, because it does the fast setting on the bottle. Yeah, so I'll put some more white on the bottom of there. Now I'm moving on to this one, which is the French, so I'm just wetting that down a little bit so my acrylic sticks to it straight away, and start at the bottom. Now I like a slightly faster setting so that it's, as you're moving it, it's more rubbery than wet. So I should perhaps have waited a couple of minutes, but when you're filming you just want to get on with it. Look. But don't worry about it, just slide it around again. And we're going to file around this in a second anyway. So that's the bottom shape more or less, and then I'll go in with the bead to build that apex up a little bit. But I am going to encapsulate this French with some clear. That's it, and just take that down to that bottom edge. That's all I'm doing. And then I'll leave that to dry and move on to do the little finger. But I'm not going to show you the pinky because it's exactly the same as the middle one. So I'll do that and then we'll come back and we'll put some white on the bottom of this one. So you want to build like a little bit of a wall for you to file against. Now this ombre I am encapsulating with a clear. So while that pink's setting up, I'll come back to this finger. It's one thing I love about acrylic. If you learn to do acrylic, you're not waiting for a lamp all the time. You can move on to the next finger while other bits drying and then come back to it and that sort of thing. Whereas if you've got to keep sticking your hand in the lamp, you've got a minute or 2 minutes or whatever between, and it, yeah. I do use the gels a lot, but I do like acrylic for that you're not, no waiting time. So this is a metal lined file, which will give you a nice edge. It's not going to bend while you're doing it. So if you've not got one, invest in a metal file that you stick the files on. So you can stick on whatever grit you want. So I'm just perfecting that a little bit, just make sure it's nice and round, and then I'll go in the bottom with some white. So I'll put a little bit of music on, just to relax while I do that. So now that white's on, I didn't take it right to the bottom because I want this clear and the glitter just at the bottom, and then I'm going to bring that glitter up a little bit onto the white. As you notice, I've got the white all over the pink. Doesn't matter because we're going to file that. And then if you've not done these French before, when you come to filing that line, it's so satisfying. So you can do it either with a hand file or an e-file. So I'm putting some clear on just to encapsulate that glitter. Builds the height back up to that apex, and then I'll file that off. So a little bit of the filing, not an awful lot of it, but I'll just show you. Start with the file straight, use the rounded end of the emery board against the finger so that you're not scratching somebody's finger, and then up and down and all the way over, and then I'll use the rounded edge of the file just to go around the cuticle, and then I'll show you a little bit with the e-file. So I'm using this narrow bit just to clean up under there. Now even if I've not got any mess of acrylic under there, I tend to do it anyway to thin it down when I've used tips. I don't like having that thickness of tip under there as well, because acrylic's really strong, so I've never found I need it on myself. And then I'm just revealing that smile line. So all that white on top's going, that's not a problem. And you can see that appearing. So I'll carry on doing some filing. And then I've decided to put a nice big bug on. So I'm going to clear that down. I've taken a little bit too much pink off at that little inside edge, did you notice? Don't matter because I'm putting something on there. If I hadn't have been, I would go back in and put a little bit more pink just to build that colour up again. But you can always sort it out. So buff with the buffing block, just to make sure I've got no file lines. Remove some of them really big scratches, but not too smooth. Use a 180. You want your gel top coat to stick to it. Couldn't resist doing another Somerset. It's been a beautiful day here today. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Love you loads. Thank you so much, MelodySusie. I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Bye.